We're beginning a new question, and we'll begin with George. Name 2 currently unmet needs in Janesville. What would you do to meet those needs?
2 unmet needs. Well, I guess if you're looking at unmet needs, I think that we've got a situation where we have at least a lag in job development and economic development. So I guess that's something there. I think that we could work harder on economic development. I think there's things that we could do to encourage economic development. I'll just say, for example, like with the old Menards location out by McDonald's, is that I think it's the city should really participate with Menards in marketing that property and trying to get it developed. As far as other unmet needs, right now I think there's some infrastructure considerations that have been unmet, and we have to really work at the infrastructure.
Thank you. Jim?
As far as some of the unmet needs, talking to a lot of people about our city, I think we need to do more to add some more cultural activity in our city. We want to attract employers. We want to attract companies to come to our city. How do you do that? You have a high quality of life. You have things for people to do. You have places for people to go. Our river development, we need to do a better job to improve what we have done at on the riverfront there and make it more attractive for people to come down there. As far as other unmet needs, I would say that housing, we need to continue to work on making sure that people have good housing in the city, that we have good neighborhoods, and that we continue in a positive direction in those areas.
Thank you. Matt?
I want to thank whoever had this question. It really makes you think. Besides for some of the obvious, such as an unemployed person would tell you their unmet need is a job. But when I look at what is the city, some of our unmet needs, and I think some of the issues that I think maybe so much is not so much of an unmet needs, but something that will continue to always be there, is blighted areas. I think as you improve one area, another area, part of the town will slip or have problems. So I think that's always going to be an unmet need, but I think we need to, as going back to enforcing our ordinance, continue to approach that. I think our parks are somewhat of an unmet need. We are a city of parks, and I think it's tough that we spend a budget that is struggling as it is over more and more acres every year as we take on more land. So I think trying to maybe take some of that money and focus on regional parks instead of some of the smaller parks might be a way to meet that.
Thank you. Mark?
Well, Janesville has a number of fantastic assets downtown. JPAC, the library, the wonderful festivals and farmers market. And tying those together, it was alluded to earlier, a bike path through downtown that would connect the wonderful bike path that goes down to Riverside Park from behind the hospital, and connecting it with the bike path that starts down on the near the Jackson Street Bridge. That is just one. There are many other unmet needs. It was also alluded to earlier. A skate park for young people. The solid development, redevelopment of downtown, and redevelopment of the riverfront is also an unmet need.
Thank you. We're going to start a new question now, and we'll begin with Jim. And then perhaps this is a specific non-this issue kind of question. In light of the recent loss of retailers, what suggestions do you have for restoring the vitality of the Janesville Mall?
As far as restoring that, we could consider maybe, we don't give incentives for retailers, only for manufacturers. Maybe there's some creative TIF that we could set up to do that. As far as we could maybe make it easier around the mall for people to get in and out of that mall. And, I think promotion, the city could do more promotion as far as our Janesville Mall, maybe in advertising, or our Janesville Visitors Bureau might be able to be more aggressive in doing that. And the city also needs to maybe actively seek new tenants in the mall that would be really a benefit to our city.
Thank you. Matt?
I think ultimately, at the end of the day, this question is posed to what is the management of the mall going to do to do that. There's things the city can do to facilitate that and help that. Our job is to make sure that the streets are plowed so people can drive there, to make sure that the water runs for the restrooms. But I think at the end of the day, this is a business decision that needs to be made. But what can the city do to assist in their decision would be to have community development, if there's leads, pass those on to mall management. If we are able to see an RFP or something like that come through to make sure we keep them all informed. But ultimately, we don't rent the Janesville Mall. I mean, it's the owners do that. So I think assisting as much as we can, but it's kind of out of our hands, unfortunately.
Okay, Mark?
Well, I see that issue with the Janesville Mall is kind of what the mall did to downtown 30, 40 years ago. And retail is moving further to the north towards the interstate. And we saw what happened to downtown. Well, let's prevent that from happening to the Janesville Mall. Let's get ahead of the game. Often the city reacts to an issue. Let's get proactive. It was brought up of helping them attract retailers, a larger anchor store, and doing the best we can as far as the city's economic development department goes.
George?
Well, I guess that I look at it too as it's not so much what the city wants to do or could do for the Janesville Mall. It's what the owners want to do to promote the mall. I know that there's concern because JCPenney's store is closing. I've had some conversations with some people, and I understand there's perhaps some stores standing in line looking at space. I think it's the city's responsibility to make sure that they have the utilities that they need if there's any traffic movement improvements that can be made around the mall to make access and egress easier and safer, and perhaps to work with them should they come to the city with some type of request to see if we can assist them if there's some need. But they manage the mall, and that's what they do for business. So I just think that we can work with them and cooperate with them, but it's their purview.
Thank you. We have 2 questions left, and we're moving to Matt to begin this one. Matt, when you are faced with a decision about a subject that's unfamiliar to you, how do you prepare yourself?
If you ask city staff, I ask a lot of questions. I try my best to always be informed as much as I can be. This includes asking people throughout the community that might be able to help us with that. If someone calls or provides us with an email or a phone call bouncing questions back off the citizen of something they're informed on, city staff has been great. We provide an email to them. They're great about getting us the information, more information, reading, and citing issues for us. We also have a memo that comes out, but there's a public hearing prior to most of our decisions, or at least an opportunity for comments. So I try to find as much information as I can in the time provided, and if more needs to be done, we keep looking.
Okay, thank you. Mark?
Running for city council has been a learning experience for me. And when I'm knocking on doors and somebody asks me a question about the assessor's office, I said, well, I'm not sure. I'll find out. So I made an appointment with Rich Haviza and spent a couple hours with Rich learning about how the assessor's office operates. We just have to do our homework. And that's just a simple example. When we don't know something, find the answer and relate that to the citizen.
Thank you. George?
I agree. The thing is that you must do your homework and you must research the issue should there be questions. You have to be well informed in order to make decisions in the best interest of the community. So whether that's going to city staff, and getting at least some background there. I've also have been known to contact other cities to see what they're doing, to see what the best practices are. And also, today's age, the internet's a great resource, and you can go on the internet and really learn what's probably happening not just in southern Wisconsin or in Wisconsin, but in other states. And you look for the best practices, get as much information as possible to make an informed decision.
Thank you. Jim?
I pride myself on researching issues as carefully as I can. Because I'm retired, I have more time to read than people that are working, but I've got a lot of books on sustainability, economic development. I've spent a lot of time reading these issues because they're big issues, and I'm not versed in those areas. I do read. One of my favorite ways of finding out is talk to the staff. I talk and I ask a lot of questions. I call department heads directly. I even go out, and when guys are working in the sewer in front of my house, I go out and talk to them and find out what are they doing and why are they doing it. So I guess I have a curiosity, and I continue to ask a lot of questions.
Thank you. This is the final question, and it's got some parts to it, so think about it. And maybe we can give you 90 seconds? 90 minutes, yeah. Not going to be here that long. What unique skills would you bring to the city council? How do you see yourself applying those skills? And therefore, why should voters elect you to the city council?
Great question. Great question. I think I have the disposition. I'm a pleasant person. I get along well with people. I communicate well with people, and I think that is the most important thing. Communicating well with fellow city council people, the citizens, getting feedback, being a good listener. I was a paramedic for 8 years, and when you see somebody on their worst day, you learn to listen very, very well. And you need to be cognizant of people's problems and the issues that are very important to them. And if they've got a question and you don't know the answer, find it for them and do the best job you can. And I think I have that.
Thank you. George?
Well, I think the answer is communication, communication, communication. Kind of like real estate is location, location, location. And I think you have to understand that communication is a two-way process, and sometimes maybe even a three-way process. But it's listening, and the key is listening and understanding, and then being able to verbalize what you have to explain to someone else what the situation is. But I think that I bring strong communication to the city council, and at the same time, I guess in my years of working in municipal government and working with various boards and foundations, I've learned how to cooperate and to seek consensus and to find the answer that's in the best interest. And again, I go back to communication, communication, communication.
Thank you. Jim?
My career experience, as I mentioned earlier, 42 years in manufacturing accounting. I'm the only manufacturing background person either running or on the council. That's what's going to drive our city ahead. It's somebody, I bring that to the table. I've had financial experience for 40 years. I'm a CPA, have been a problem solver, I have worked with department heads, people in the factory, people outside. I've got a lot of experience working with diverse people. I have not hesitated to go out to talk to citizens when there are issues in the city. I pride myself of being somewhat unique. There are some that I do that. I feel no hesitation to go to people's houses and talk to them directly. And sometimes I feel nobody does. And those are my experiences. And I think that being on the council for 2 years, I've learned a lot. There's a lot to learn. There's been a lot of issues. It's been a productive experience for me, and I bring that to the table of two hard-worked and learned, a good learning experience for 2 years. That's what I bring to the table, to the city.
Thanks. And Matt, I'm just going to kind of remind you of the question. Unique skills, how do you see yourself applying them? And therefore, why should voters elect you?
Thank you. As a small business owner here in Janesville, I think some of the skills that I use in my everyday life are skills I can bring to the council. Budgeting, planning and goal setting, quick response, and communication. How do I apply these to the council? Obviously budgeting, every year we do a very large budget, a little bigger than what I do in my small business, but the general concept of understanding that if you add something, you take something out. Why we don't obviously operate with the goal of a net profit. My goal on the council is to get as close as we can as spending only what we take in. Planning and goal setting, I think it's important for a council to have goals. As I do in my everyday profession, we try to plan the best we could for what is to come and have goals as far as what we'd like to achieve. The restaurant industry provides quick response, as far as if a customer or if a citizen calls, asks a question, trying to get back to them as quick as possible. And then obviously communication, taking what the citizens want to the majority of the council or to the city manager and asking questions, taking what they say and implementing policy with it. And why should they reelect me? I hope to be reelected for the job I've done on the council. I know sometimes when you first run, it's about having your name out there and stuff like that. But I would like to be reelected for what I've done on the council thus far.
Thank you. I want to make a couple of announcements and then say thank you, so just bear with me for a minute. This forum will be rebroadcast on JATV and will shortly be available on YouTube and the Janesville League of Women Voters website. And most importantly, I want to thank the candidates for participating tonight. It's really important as part of democracy, making democracy work, to have candidates come before us and to be able to ask them questions and hear what they have to say. So thank you very much. And we encourage everyone to vote on April 1st.
I just don't understand why I should vote in city or county elections. I mean, what do they do? I vote for the president and stuff. Isn't that enough?
A frightening trend is occurring with our most valued resource, voters.
City council elections? Yeah, I guess I didn't vote.
Every vote counts in local elections. Some local contests are decided by just a handful of votes.
Really? So what does city council actually do?
And what about the county board?
Hi, I'm Amy with the League of Women Voters. Local elections matter more than you might think. Ordinances are passed that affect where you can live, where you can ride your bike, even where you can take your dog.
Really? Wow.
Yes, they even make decisions about new businesses, the county fair, and snow plowing.
Geez, I had no idea. We've got to be smarter about this.
If you want to learn more, you can go to our website or come to one of our meetings. You'd be surprised what you'd learn. Oh, and don't be intimidated. It's not only for women.
Remember, the more local, the more impact on you. Be an educated voter. Vote local.